Freedom lovers, freedom fighters, sips to you on this Friday the 13th. Good old Jake Soy, one of the greatest early sippers, of course. How are you, brother? And an amazing Patreon, might I add. Brilliant bloke, brilliant bloke. Top notch. Your support is always welcome, my friend. And I see there's a great many jumping in very early. Azusi, how you going? I hope you didn't get confused by the graphics. Throwing out the Sunday style graphics on a Friday. Look, it's Friday the 13th. We're going to turn things up on its head. Look, I wanted to do things very quickly today, but it's probably not going to happen. I'm in a fair bit of pain. As usual, I've gone above and beyond and tried to help unappreciative people. Look, what's today showed me? It doesn't matter how good I think somebody is. I guess I'll just eternally be disappointed because I put certain people up on a pedestal that they're clearly not good enough to be at. And it's a harsh reality. Something I continuously find myself doing is accepting that certain members of the human race are not as good as I thought they were. And that is really sad. But look, I'm going to push through the pain. I've, popped a couple of painkillers as I had to. I've gone and seen some massage therapy, pushed out as much pain as they could. They did a great job, lovely ladies. We're just going to deal with this shit. I'm not going to sit here and wallow in my own discomfort and pain. I have a job to do, and when I have a job to do, I fucking do it. I don't bitch and moan and complain unless I'm in a lot of pain. I'd like to think that people who work with me by now would know that, but apparently some are still inadequate in basic comprehension of the kind of person I am. But for all you lovely people out there who still appreciate the hard work I do for you, even though I'm sitting here in agony, big sips. So let's rip the skin off this rumple foreskin. Rightio. So where do we start, ladies and gentlemen? Where do we start? It's been one hell of a shit show. I guess we should probably start with a little bit more of a local construct. Let's open her up and remind everyone that we need to dismiss the Townsville City Council ASAP. They are absolutely horrific, absolutely useless. We had a garbage pickup scheduled, ready to go, and oh no, due to unforeseen circumstances, we've got to not be able to do that. The next date will be such and such. Click here to rebook, and you go and click here to rebook, and you can't. Well done, Townsville City Council. What the fuck exactly am I paying for? Another reason to dismiss the Townsville City Council, especially if you're like me and expected them to pick up the rubbish, which is the core element of what they fucking do, and found yourself unable to do so, you need to sign this petition ASAP. 100%. Speaking of other petitions, there's another one getting around that I've noticed. I mean, whenever you see this face, sign a petition to get rid of him. I wish. But look, at the end of the day, this is to help others stop this dangerous bill. Again, the mis and disinformation bill are coming around yet again. This cockknocker and his absolute socialist, communist, filthy dictatorship is on the run. Oh, excuse me. Like that was gas propelled. I'm sure I'll have to pay tax on that under Albanese. But this fake excuse for a premier is again attacking our freedoms of speech once again. So you want to jump onto that? Jumped into the comments there. I will make sure that it's also available on Telegram. Look, guys, especially if you're having trouble getting links to what's going on via this channel and whatnot. Sorry, I am going to be a little bit incoherent today. I'm going to do my best to keep my mind focused. But Telegram, jump on the Telegram page. Basically, NQ_freedom is what you're looking for on Telegram. Is that? Sorry, no, that's the X thing. Hang on. It's North Queensland Freedom. So t.me/North Queensland Freedom is how you find us on Telegram. And I'll always drop links that are very important there, as well as links directly to the show. So if you're not getting, your notifications and whatnot, g'day Sam, how are you, mate? Quick enough, and you're missing your lives and all that, that's the place to do it. Otherwise, you can always email us at nqfreedomnetwork.com. nqfreedomnetwork@protonmail.com. I'll get that. Sorry. You'll have to forgive me. Bit of pain, not exactly thinking clear. Okay. So anyway, we're going to move on to today's most laughable of attempts at media. Good old Chris Burns. He's resurrected himself. It was very kind of him to do so. And good old Caitlin, as usual. The usual suspects of the Townsville bullshit. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? Bulletin. Have gone for yet another hit piece on Troy Thompson. Apparently caught using a fake name in Townsville Bulletin story comments to back himself and trash former colleagues. Do you realize that every politician in this country has multiple fake accounts? Christian Price was the one who told me all about it because, all those Labor cronies used to do the same thing. They're hitting on fucking the things I would comment on, with fake accounts. Christian Price told me all about it. Go and ask him. I wonder how forthcoming he would be now. He's probably doing the same thing. As I understand it, he learned a lot from Les Walker. Sips. It was kind of him, though, to inform me of these things before he decided to turn his back on decency and humanity. But that aside, this is one of the most ridiculous fucking articles I've ever seen, and a typical subterfuge that you would come to see. So embattled, why? Because the Townsville Bulletin won't fucking stop fighting against him. Suspended Mayor Troy Thompson. Again, you got to put the suspended because he's not actually the mayor technically at this point. He's just Troy Thompson, a typical citizen. He has the right to an opinion, but apparently not according to the Townsville Bulletin. Has been caught trashing his former colleagues. And I love the way they use the word trashing as if like he'd said something out of line. And you'll come to see that this is just typical over-the-top bullshit. And defending himself. What a horrible thing to do. Could you imagine defending yourself? That's a kind of a thing to do, isn't it? Wow. Only horrible people defend themselves, I guess, You should just lay down and take that beating. And using a fake name for months. Never mind the fact that Labor Party cronies have been doing it for decades. But anyway, no story there, including comments like, the bloke's entitled to his pay. Well, he's not been convicted. Why the fuck wouldn't he be entitled to his pay? Please explain. Come on. As far back as January, Mr. Thompson has been commenting under the name of Barry on Townsville Bulletin. It's like fucking something out of The Extraordinary. I'm going to make this a bit bigger. It's got to be bigger for The Extraordinary. His own suspension and targeted attacks against councillors. What a load of shit. Comments made by Barry were exposed as Mr. Thompson after the name linked to the account changed back to his own. Mr. Thompson, who was suspended from his role as Townsville City Council Mayor in March, thanks to a horrific barrage of bullshit from the Townsville City Council and the weak fucking members that we did elect, and a horrific campaign from those who were not elected against him. His short tenure as mayor ended amid a crime and corruption commission investigation, which is still ongoing. Why? Because these fuckers wanted to be. And there's a whole bunch of fucking comments here, which is fucking, at the end of the day, really, who gives a shit? Like what he said here. Susie is in it for Susie. Of course she is. A good basketballer in a day, but a poor counsellor with an attitude and a self-interest. Yes, 100% agree. Remember, she voted for Greenie. Fucking oh, she did. Rate rises. Yes, she did. Paid parking. Hardly one advocating for our community. How is this an attack? This is a fucking statement of fact. Troy Thompson, did he lie? The post on his page says he does not. It is a full recording of the actual ACA report. I mean, again, he's just pointing out the fact that a current affair. Go to his page and look at the full report. Where does he lie? Like again, mountain out of molehill, fabricating fact. But look, I'm not even going to bother going here any further. We just keep coming down to the ridiculous shit, and they keep going on. How dare Mr. Turner defended himself. The good part here is, the controversy. Apparently, it all started on Anzac Day. No, it started on the North Queensland Freedom Network, where you guys stole my shit and then somehow managed to obtain military records that nobody else could. There's a fucking story. Why don't you write about how the Townsville Bulletin and another bird brain fuckwit managed to obtain military records unlawfully? There's a fucking story. Oh, we don't want to talk about that, no, because it only works our way. Anyway, sorry, like I said, you're going to have a couple of these moments. Did he lie? No, of course he didn't. It's all about a point of view, as far as I'm concerned. Prove that he lied. Go ahead, prove it. They've been trying to prove it for what, a year now, and they've failed to come up with anything. Crime, they're running an investigation. Where's the proof? Come out with it. It's so cut and dry, according to the Townsville Bulletin. Well, where's the evidence? Why hasn't it been done? Hot drinks in Melbourne tonight, Rex. That cold. What's the temperature? Or dare I? Okay. Tell me, what's the temperature in Melbourne? Remind me of why I left. Bird shit brain actually means a lot of sense. It does to when you know what I'm talking about. I just don't want to give the fruit cake a name. Anyway, on a story about Townsville leaders listing what their priorities will be in 2025, Mr. Thompson called acting mayor Anne-Marie Greeny a self-absorbed fruitcake. I'd say she's a self-absorbed fruitcake that ate several fruitcakes and decided I'd be a hairdresser without a mirror or any perspective on art. That'd be my perspective, though, and I wouldn't want my point of view to taint yours. Feel free to think for yourself. Unlike what the Townsville Bulletin wants you to do, they want you to think like them. Anyway, Anne said that new Thurungowa MP Natalie Ma knows very little and done even less. Well, as I understand it, at the time that this alleged post was made, she was just elected. She probably does know very little regarding her job and has probably done fuck all, considering she just got the job. So it would be an accurate assessment from any blind man's perspective. But anyway, another post labeled Councillor Christian Price totally out of his depth. Yeah, I'd fucking agree with that. 100%. The moment he took office, he was out of his fucking depth and acting like a very emotional teenager. That's my personal perspective on things. And I see little to that anything's changed. I'd say he's just, yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir. Yeah, where would you like me to take it? Oh, really? Okay. And I get paid? Yeah. Okay, no worries. Welcome to Christian Price. Because for him, the price is right. Anyway, you know what? This is just such an absolute pile of dribble. It's just shit. It is typical shit. I was going to talk about how they use the word sick, but they fundamentally just make me sick. Anyway, it's just another reason why you should sign the dismissal of the Townsville City Council, because clearly there is an invested interest between the current corrupt system. And that's my opinion. My opinion is that the current system in Townsville Council is corrupt beyond belief. And it's not about the workers. It's about the top up. It's the CEO filth. It is the council filth. It is the high paid, overpaid bureaucracy filth. These people are the problem. They have a vested interest in making sure these things stay. And of course, so do their friends, such as the Townsville Bulletin. I'm pretty confident they get a lot of fucking money because why? Well, the Townsville City Council invests a lot of advertising. So there's a friendship money thing going on there. Pretty obvious, really. Not to mention, Tell, which is fundamentally utterly useless, as $3 million, and the various other projects that we've named on many occasions that always seem to have the same dirty hands, or at least dubious ones, at the very least. Anyway, let's move right along. Another thing I noticed this actually a couple of weeks ago because I don't know if I've told you. I probably have. I'm sure you regulars know about it. The $10 free on Stake, the app that I've been using for a little bit of investment here and there. And I'm saying little because I'm broke for the most part. But I chucked a little bit in. And one of the things I did was jump on X and go, hey, what's one of the high profile things to, that's got a high return, and what's the returns on investment things? I can't even think of it. I'm that brain dead right now. When you invest in something, dividends, sorry, when you get dividends, what's the highest paying dividend things? And Woodsides was one of the ones that came up, prior to 28th of May. And it was good because I dumped a bit of money in there. I think your minimum payment when you're using the Stake app, in the way it works with whatever, I can't even think of the names right now. Excuse me. Use the promo code MarkB228 if you're interested in doing this. And I jumped on the Woodside thing and I bought some stocks, and I'm glad I did, because not long after I did that, well, the federal government released this Northwest Shelf, Australia's largest gas project, approved for life extension to 2070. Now, what's yeah, okay, I'm selling an app. Bullshit. No, I'm telling you something that I use, something I do. You can use this too. The link is in the description. Fucking, we can help each other out. And this is an example of an opportunity that I've seen by using Grok, an AI search engine. Hey, what's the best thing to invest in? Well, I just rolled the dice. I seen what Grok said. I used it and it fucking worked, man. Like, no shit. But the funny thing is, all the greeny fuckwittery of the Labor Party has allowed a gas project to continue to 2070. And it just shows you how much they know this left-hearted green energy shit is going to fail. And that you want to invest in things that actually fucking work. It's pretty funny, Of course, in short, the ABC are going to tell you how bad it is, but for investors and people who've got their brains in reality, no, you don't listen to left-hearted bullshit. Left-hearted bullshit makes you poor. They want you poor so that they can keep you controlled. Listen to what they say and then turn it on its head. That's the way I think. But you feel free to think your way. In short, the extension of the Northwest Shelf gas project to 2070 has been approved by the Environmental Minister Murray Watt. The proposal has been under assessment by the federal government for 6 years. Talk about dragging their feet. Woodside will have 10 business days to comment before a final decision is made. Well, it's been made. They're in, at least as far as I know. The life of Australia's largest oil and gas project will be extended till 2070. So tell me how we're net zero at 2050 when you've extended this shit to 2070. It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? How you doing, Judy's Drive? We'll talk about Judy's Drive. Stay tuned, man. Actually, well, since you mentioned it, fuck it. We'll do it right now. You made it happen. Well done. Gonna do it. Gonna do it. Where did I put it? That's the $1 million question. Where did I put it? Oh, look, I'll come to that in a minute. Quickly, on Sunday, we are going to have Judy come on. We're going to have a yarn about that. Will I be doing it? Well, I guess that depends on how much money people can come up with, because I dare say I probably can't afford it. I'd like to, I've continuously endeavored to make the North Queensland Freedom Network the priority in my life and what I would like to really do. Unfortunately, the capital is not there, so to speak. I need to focus on very important things, and here's one of the most important things.
So, this is it, the last resort. You sure you want to go in here, man?
Why not?
I know this much better place down the street. The girls are cleaner, the liquor ain't watered down.
Sure, and you get kickbacks.
Hey, man, I got 5 kids to feed.
Take him to the dentist.
Well, I wish somebody had dropped that kind of cash so I could take the kids to the fucking dentist. Look, at the end of the day, I'd love to go on an adventure like that. I'd love to go and support those sorts of things. And too many times in the past have I gone, yep, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do that, I'm going to film. I've got shitloads of footage here. And I never got around to editing it because I spend all my time paying bills and coming up with new ways to feed everyone and everything. But we'll talk more about that on Sunday where it's appropriate. In the meantime, I'd just like to point out how fucking amusing it is that the government wants to allow, these projects to go ahead to 2070. Right. In the meantime, let's move right along. Hey, does anybody remember this shit? So yeah, remember those times? Weren't they wonderful? Wasn't that an amazing time to be alive to see that sort of stuff? Because here in the mainstream media right now, they're trying to tell us that, this bitch getting shot.
Channel 9 reporter Lauren Tomasi was in LA covering the chaos when a stray rubber bullet fired by police struck the correspondent.
Bullets of protesters moving them on through the heart of LA.
I love this. Like, seriously, because like you come back and you have a look, you watch this guy slow mo. This is fucking gold, And here she is trying to be really important with the dust mask hanging around her neck, and she must be trying to do the what do you call it? The Steve Irwin with that grey sort of shirt, grey greeny shirt on. And then you look and then you see to the left there, and old mate, the copper goes, you know what? Fuck this bitch. Shoots her. Have a look. He fully turns and goes, you know what? Fuck her. Boom. Bang. He decided, fuck her. We're going to shoot her. Master told her, oi, get back. Told you where to fucking get back to, but didn't. So apparently we're supposed to be all sympathetic for this particular person. Apparently. Personally, I'm not feeling much sympathy. I guess it's just me. I don't know. Am I full a lack of compassion? No, she's a reporter for a start. And I don't have a great deal of respect for them. That's for sure. You have to forgive me. I'm having one of them moments again. Anyway. Oh, we did that one. That one again. Remove that one from shitty. So, straight. It's all become a mess. I did have this in order. somehow it got out of order. It's Friday the 13th. We should expect these kinds of things. But long and the short of it, there was a video I had prepared and I've somehow lost of Albo straight out absolute bullshitting his way, trying to say that, wow, she was clearly marked as a reporter, which you can clearly see. She's wearing a khaki shirt like she's on her way to bloody Queensland zoo. Yeah, not happening. The guy's absolutely fucking useless. Anyway. Oh, there was a whole memes bit I was going to do. Maybe it was in there. No, we'll worry about that later if we get to it. Anyway, other interesting things. Batteries. Gotta love them. As long as they're charged, as long as they're functioning, as long as they're not exploding.
Have forced the evacuation of the police building in Wakefield Street. They were being charged on the first floor when they blew up late this morning. Toxic smoke forced firefighters to don breathing apparatus.
Lithium batteries can actually produce a pretty nasty and hazardous smoke, so we did a lot of work into the ventilation and to bring this back into a safe atmosphere.
The batteries were put into a bucket of water so they could be safely removed.
I'd just like to state that that is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. A bucket of water. There's actually a little bit more to it than that. But anyway, I won't tell you everything I know because I might get in trouble. But one thing is for sure, it is not just a bucket of water. And that's just another stunning example of how stupid and poorly equipped with knowledge the mainstream media are. No, those things need to be left in a certain mixture, so to state. Sand is one of the main things at the bottom. So, shit doesn't go pouring right through because it eats through plastic. Anyway, that's another element because these things are not safe. That's the most important thing. And anyway, I'm having a moment. Excuse me, sips. Next video.
Australia, saying what we do with this little landmark could destroy the relationship. This is the port of Darwin, Australia's northernmost port and one of our most critical strategic assets. Now just for context, back in 2015, the Northern Territory government leased the port to a Chinese company called Landbridge Group. But it turned out Landbridge had close ties to the Chinese Communist Party, which set off all sorts of national security concerns. Before the election, Labor pledged to win the port back if they were re-elected. The Prime Minister said Landbridge would either have to sell it or Australia would have to take it back by force.
We've been working on this issue for some time and trying to as well maximise the benefit for the Australian taxpayer.
But now, China's ambassador to Australia says this would jeopardise our relationship. He called it ethically questionable and said the Chinese company that leased it, no mention of the Chinese government, shouldn't be penalised over the investment. Then the Global Times, which is tends to be alarmist Chinese newspaper, put out this editorial piece criticising Australia's intentions. The editorial claimed Australia was using the Port of Darwin as a political football, that the takeover was morally inappropriate, and that the so-called security concerns had been drummed up by Washington. Now don't forget, the Albanese government reviewed the lease a couple of years ago and found no evidence of security risk. But when the election
I love that. Albanese's government looked over and found no security risks. My God, possibly the most incompetent government ever. But all right, let's just continue.
election rolled around, the mood kind of shifted. Albo said the original sale was a mistake and it had to be rectified. Now just to add to all this, an American firm linked to the Trump administration is now showing interest in acquiring the port lease. The firm recently met with Darwin Port Management. Discussions were had, it's understood no formal offer has been made, but the offer will be slightly above the $506 million that Landbridge paid 10 years ago. Some critics say Australia should jump on this offer, that it's a way out, that they're a key military ally, that it's perfect timing. The Chinese company maintains it's not for sale. But here's the other problem. This port is racking up losses. Last financial year, it lost $34 million. Landbridge Group has billions of dollars in assets, and they've been struggling with debt for years. So you've got to question whether China's threats are genuine or if it's all just a bit smoke and mirrors. But, like always, the geopolitical...
I think his assessment is utter garbage. If the port is losing money, why does China want it? It's clearly not about money. The fact that money isn't the issue should make it a strategic issue. Personally, I'm absolutely astounded that the Australian military allows our corrupt and mindless fucking government to do shit like give key infrastructure such as the Port of Darwin, even airport and WA and various other key infrastructure to potentially hostile enemies. How is it that our military allow that? Why hasn't our military stepped in and gone, you dopey fuck, I don't give a shit how many pissed flights you have gone on, are about to send us into absolute turmoil. Not to mention, and it's one of the big questions I've had for decades, is how the fuck are we allowed an excuse? Oh, sorry, I swore again. I better wash my mouth out. Give me a sec. Sips. How is it that we can import millions of God knows who's and then tell me that my Facebook posts are somehow a threat to national security? You got to be shitting me. Anyway.
Tug of war continues and Australia stays stuck in the middle.
Australia's stuck in... No, the people are stuck in the middle. The government's selling us out. Anyway. Does your head in. Absolutely does my head in. But, you know, this one is a big one. And I'm rolling us right back. Right back. So there's probably a lot of people who still caught up in the jabby is the only thing that's really got you motivated. And I get it. Like, I mean, it was a big eye-opening moment. And we'll talk about that. There's another bloke I've got a video of here talking about how the jabby was a big eye-opener. Got to get the next video. Anyway, this one is good old Uncle Chop Chop. I remember reading a few lines out of one of his books once upon a time. Very wise words. Admit to nothing was the opening pages. Fundamentally, most criminals, get themselves, caught because they open their mouths a bit too much, But anyway, old Uncle Chop Chop here, he's got something to say.
He had his hands between this grill gate, white overalls, blonde hair, green eyes. I couldn't help myself. Dr. Lopez was leading me out, and I looked at him and he said, "Hello, Mr. Reed." And I said, "Why'd you do it?" He says, "I don't know." He said, "One minute I was eating my Trevelyan peas, and the next minute the room was full of dead people." And that's how he spoke. He said, "One minute I was eating my Trevelyan peas, and the next minute the room was full of dead people." He spoke like a little baby poofter. That's how he spoke, like a little baby retarded poofter. "One minute I was eating my Trevelyan peas, and the next minute the room's full of dead people. Ho, ho, ho." And I said, "Oh, good." Turned around and walked out. But that's a very strange thing, considering he killed 3 people from a distance of 300 yards with a .308 bolt action. Straight in the face. Bang, bang, bang. Face shots. Got them all. Just blew their heads off. And he killed 2 other people 27 yards away, standing in the one position. He went bang, 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 bang. 3 people in front of the Broad Arrow Cafe from 300 fucking yards. 300 yards. Who can shoot 3 people? They're obviously running or walking or bending over, crouching or whatever. Who can shoot people in the face from 300 yards away with a bolt action .308? 300 yards. It's a long way.
I would also like to point out a similar question was posed of Lee Harvey Oswald. Just an observation.
Unless he is an idiot savant with a God-given gift for target shooting, and they could easily prove that by taking him to a military rifle range and giving him a .308 and getting him to just shoot targets under supervision. You'd have the gun chained up there so he couldn't spin it round on you. You have it chained up there, and so you couldn't move it that way, just like bang, bang, bang. just to see how good a shot he is. What went on there that day? How do you get 34 people? Yeah, from a 300 yard, how do you shoot that many people? How does one man shoot that many fucking people? At this amazing distances, he's getting them with a 308 hunting rifle. Because there's a body of opinion that suggests that there are other people doing the shooting. Yeah. The whole thing was some sort of a get-up to take the guns off the Australian public, to disarm the Australian public. I sort of tend to believe it could be true.
Well, man's allegedly a criminal. Now, if you want to understand how criminals think, wouldn't you ask a criminal? Has our government perhaps engaged in criminal intent? And we've now had the voice of an alleged criminal point out perhaps a possible criminal intent. Just a concept, something I thought was interesting, and kind of found it hard not to agree with. Anyway, here's another one.
Was in her home seat of Bendigo today for the latest round of treaty negotiations. The First People's Assembly of Victoria has been holding talks across Victoria in an effort to include local communities. The state government has reiterated its support to the process, with 45 more rounds of negotiations expected through 2025 and 2026.
Now, I'm sure a lot of people are like, hang on, Batty, what are you doing? Why are you getting behind this sort of shit? Am I? It's interesting to use the terms treaty as opposed to forcing a voice. Fundamentally, they should be trying to create some sort of a treaty. It's been hundreds and hundreds of years, and these people have certainly not treated, as far as I remember, the Yothu Yindi song from back in the 90s, you know, treaty, yeah, catchy tune, very good. I thought it was a good tune, you know. At the end of the day, what concerns me is the government hooking on with socialist Nazi scumbags who have sold their own people out. That's what worries me. I'm all for working with the Indigenous, as you've seen me do on many occasions, right back to the my original work with the no vote. Exactly, no means no. Well done, Jake. I worked with the Indigenous on that. They said no. Wow, I'm supposed to listen to the Indigenous voice, so I did. I gave them a voice. I gave them the voice that the mainstream didn't want to give them. Excuse me. The fact that the Labor Party and the mainstream are trying to do something always makes me worried. That's for sure. I'm hearing other things happening here in town. I'm going to suss that out, and you'll hear more on it as time comes. I hope it's being done for the right reasons. We're going to dive into it. I'm not going to say much until I know more about what's really going on. Now, I should probably drag us back to something that requires a little bit more intellect on my part as I come back to that news article reading component. So thankfully I've been doing my stretches and whatnot in the background there so that I can sit in this chair and continue. Dogs, a growing environmental threat you might not have known about. All you horrible people who own dogs, how dare you? When Greed is not being arrested for fighting off the horrific torments of Israel against the plights of Palestine, I'm sure she'll be telling you, how dare you own a dog, you horrible piece of shit. Often hailed as man's best friends, may also inadvertently contributing to a growing environmental crisis. I love the wording in this shit. It's almost like join China, eat your dog. That's kind of the way I'm translating this shit. It's so left-heartedly insane. May. So the ambiguous nature of the word may also be inadvertently, you might, you didn't know it, but you might just being on a horrible blight on society, a horrible blight on in the environment. You horrible person. How dare you own a dog? I mean, at the end of the day, when you live in regional Australia, not just here in Townsville, but regional Australia worldwide, Australia wide, possibly worldwide in a lot of cases, you need something to defend you, because, the cops ain't going to turn it up anytime fast, because there's only 3 or 4 cops of when the criminals are actually out. They're only around when it's time to collect revenue, like speeding fines and other bullshit, so what's the next best thing to create ultimate chaos? Oh, that's it. Remove the last thing they have as their final defense line, because you're not allowed to have guns. Because Chopper just pointed that out, right? You're not allowed to have guns, thanks to good old Johnny Howard, Liberal Party. Thank you very much. Now the Greenie leftist said, well, you can't have a dog to defend yourself. I'm pretty sure they'll be changing the laws, and so I think I got somewhere in there. We'll talk about the laws being changed soon. Anyway, you pet owner, you're an arsehole. Eco-friendly pet parenting. Well, and this is the level of shit they're going to now, that even pet food and produce are talking about how you can be eco-friendly being a fucking pet owner. Like they're just ramping everything. How climate change will affect your pet. Well, if you weren't annoyed enough that having a pet was going to fuck with climate change, the fact that climate change is existing could fuck with your pet. It's the same concept of, you shouldn't have kids because this is a horrible world. Why would you bring a kid into it? It's like, how dare you have a pet? How could you bring a pet into it too? This is the level of stupidity that this left-hearted state of things has gotten. It's even fish, Can't let how dare you own fish? Birds, dogs. But it gets better. It gets better. Yeah. Struth. This one's gone all weird and bloody doing stupid shit. No, fuck off. All right. There's a whole bloody scientific study. And I'll tell you what, I spent, about 15, 20 minutes going through this, and it was the biggest pile of non-sensual, utter garbage I'd ever read. There's no conclusion. I mean, I remember when I was in basic high school, and you were given you need an aim, your method. This is how we're going to go about it. This is how we did it. Then we come to the end, and this is the conclusion and the results and all that shit, and you documented stuff. This has none of that. This is a big word soup. This whole fucking thing is a giant word salad, and it's fundamentally dependent on horrific amounts of references that go fucking nowhere as well. By all means, just in case you thought I was making this up, I'm going to chuck it into the comment section just for you to go and see if I fucking got this wrong. As far as Struth, swore again. Oops, better wash my mouth out, Sips. Seriously, this is the biggest pile of crap I've ever seen. There's absolutely nothing in this to suggest that climate-sensitive zoonotic diseases transmissible by companion animals are scoping review protocol. This is the key. It's just a review. It's just a thought. It is fun. Like when you read through the bullshit, does this even exist? This horrible climate-sensitive zoonotic disease transmissible by companion animals, is that actually something? It's a big fuck off no. This is fundamentally a scoping review protocol. It is I'll reinterpret it as fanciful bullshit with absolutely no standing. And by all means, go ahead, check it. I read it. I couldn't fucking wait to get rid of it. It was utter shit. In the meantime, sorry, I swore again. Sips. Wash that dirty mouth out. Wash that dirty mouth out. All these other elements. What are we looking at today? Climate change. Oh, good old Channel 7. Latest and breaking climate change news. I believe we actually had... that's right. That was the backup in case they changed it. So there's a whole climate change element to Channel 7. Did you know that? I only just recently discovered that Channel 7 has a climate change set subcategory dedicated to climate change. Why insurance premiums are set to increase. Natural, and it's amazing, like insurance. What can we not tie into it? Coles faces backlash. The great EV con. Hang on, what? The great EV con? What they actually, the deception driving our green future? Holy shit, they actually reported something in a semblance of reality. Tiny island country selling its citizenship for $165,000 to save itself from rising seas. You've got to be shitty. I've got to see this. I didn't see this until now. Citizenship of Nauru, an island nation spanning just 21 square kilometers of southwest Pacific Ocean, can be yours for $165,000. A tiny, low-lying island has launched a Golden Passport initiative with the aim of raising money to fund climate action. Oh my fuck me dead. Nauru, oh, truth, I've done it again. Better wash my mouth out, ladies and gentlemen. Sips. Can't help it. Just let me know, ladies and gentlemen, watching here and listening in. Does swearing and oh my god, gotta wash my mouth out, is that working for you? I don't know that it's working for me, and I mean, if it is working for me, I'd love some actual user input. Shoot me an email. Is it working? Is it not? Are you at least entertained? Anyway, the government says selling citizenship will help raise funds needed for a plan to move 90% of the islands, about 12,500 strong population onto higher ground and build an entirely new community. What the fuck? I'm going to read that again. The government says selling citizenship will help raise the funds needed for a plan to move 90% of the islands about 12,500 strong population onto higher ground and build an entirely new community. That has got to be one of the most retarded sentences I've ever fucking seen. Oh, Stroth, I've done it again. Better wash my mouth out with beer. All right. Golden passports are not new, but they are controversial. I did read that right. Controversial. History is littered with examples of them being exploited for criminal actions. No shit, Sherlock. Oh, Stroth, I've done it again. Better wash my mouth there. Yet, as developing countries struggle to get the money they need to deal with escalating climate impacts. You mean, the only climate impacts, and let's face it, are the ones being created by the fanciful scenario that is climate change. It's not actually happening. It's bullshit. We know it. Anyway, a funding gap likely to be exacerbated by the US withdrawal, global climate action, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? It's just so painful at this point. I can't bear to read it any further. But this is how funny this keeps going. I had to keep going. I just wanted to expel some more carbon into the atmosphere at that point. I hope you don't mind. Bill me later. How climate change is speeding up evolution in the animal kingdom. Now, this is a fucking... Struth, I've done it again. Better wash my mouth out, Sips. And Sips to you, Sam. Apologies for all the swearing, ladies and gentlemen who are offended by it. You know, I mean, I do try to make light of it. I am trying to be a better person. I am. Anyway, how climate change is speeding up evolution in the animal kingdom. Now, this is a really funny thing. Because at the end of the day, you'd think the kind of left-heartedry that manifests such idiocracy would actually be excited by the fact that, holy lizard guts, I nearly did it. Animals are evolving. Shouldn't we be excited by that? Shouldn't we be excited? Like, isn't this the opportunity to take Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, emphasis on the word theory? It's okay to have a theory on evolution, just not a conspiracy theory, okay? Just make sure you've got that distinction clear. Theory of conspiracy from government, bad. Theory of evolution, good. But that's okay, unless it's driven by climate change. And now evolution is bad because climate change is speeding it up. Does that even begin to make sense? Is it just me, or like climate change is often discussed in the context of melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and extreme weather, but one of its less visible impacts is its effect on evolutionary processes within the animal kingdom. I think the only way I can make it more impactful would be to say it in German, and I just haven't got there yet. Give me time. As temperatures rise and habitats shift, animals are under unprecedented pressure to adapt, resulting in accelerated evolutionary changes. This fascinating dynamic is reshaping how species interact, survive, and thrive in a rapidly changing world. This article delves into the ways climate change is driving evolutionary changes in animals, highlighting the resilience and adaptability of life on Earth. Well, I don't know about you, but I read that as we can evolve, we can adapt. Why the fuck are we worried? Is it worth? I mean, only if you really want a good laugh, like, and like at the end of the day, it really is one paragraph. It is so shit. This is such a primary school thing. Like, it really depends on a picture of a fluffy animal and you being really upset about the fact that they might evolve. You know, it's gone, and this is the ridiculous nature of it. It's like they're not going to die. You know, we were scaring the fuck out of you, thinking that these species were going to die and they'll be wiped from the face of humanity forever, and you'll never get to see them again. Now it's oh my God, climate change is evolving them, and you'll never get to see them again. It's just this constant fear of what was, and we should fear what is to come. That's what it's all about. Now, here's a really groundbreaking idea. It's going to really blow your mind. What if it's not just the animals? What if it's the people too? Hang on. Is that what the fear climate crap is all really about? Keeping you so scared, keeping you so disjointed, so afraid, so off center that you don't realize that you yourself are actually evolving. The universe, the planet, everything is evolving. Everything is moving in a wonderful, beautiful, harmonious system. But these people who are so clinging to their old, destructive, satanic, vile ways don't want you to realize that. So all they want you to do is long for the past instead of hope for the future. Just a thought. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Anyway, Australia's mass migration disaster, overwhelming Labor's housing plan availability going backwards by hundreds of homes every week. Well, is anybody actually surprised? We'll just smash through this because it's just constant. Excessive immigration. Macro Business says this. Excessive immigration is behind the rental crisis. See, this is not just a right-wing, far-right conspiracy crap. This is observable by anybody with half a fucking brain. The Times, unpacking the housing challenges migrants face in Australia. Why is it the migrants face it? The whole country's facing it. See, this just tells you how left-biased this particular pile of shit is. So there's no point wasting any further time on this. Video, facing the figures, Australia's housing affordability is worsening. Of course it is. We've known this forever. Why? Because they keep bringing in more than we can house. You know, I sat there with this dumbass, and I really want to emphasize the word dumbass and this moron when I was working at fucking Channel 9. He was dumb as dog shit from the word go. And working with him was an absolute pain. You know, fundamentally, not to turn around and knock him out every time he opened his mouth was one of the greatest challenges of my life. It would have been the equivalent of punching my way out of a wet paper bag. But, oh, look, you know, that's why I couldn't hit him. You know, it was like hitting a girl. But anyway, this cockknocker at one point, basically, during, long story short, asked me the question, oh, what? So you don't think we should bring Muslims into this country? Mate, you're putting words in my mouth. I never said that at all. What I'm saying is we shouldn't be bringing anybody into this country until we have adequate facilities. Now, that was 8 years ago. I wonder if that absolute moron has the clarity of vision now to realize what I was trying to say. As he said, okay. Because it completely fucked him. He was hoping to entrap me in a racist or prejudiced argument where I was putting it out as basic common sense of, well, where are you going to put them? I don't give a shit what color they are, where they are, what's going on. Where are you going to put them? Too much logic. Dumbass brain went because he's a fucking dumbass reporter. Anyway. Let's keep fury over Green's bill allowing government to seize private land. Says communism, says the notar. So basically, here we have a controversial Greens bill that allows the government to seize private land without consent or compensation in order to ease the housing crisis that the government themselves has created. Past the upper house in South Australia. They're doing well in South Australia. Like, you know, if you relax the drug laws enough, you can keep these guys so stoned, they won't know what's going on, apparently. Anyway, the use of vacant land bill made it through the Legislative Council with Labor support this week and will now be considered in the House of Assembly despite concerns over the unclear wording of the proposed legislation and warnings it is poorly drafted and a fundamental breach of property rights. Who didn't see this coming? Come on. Surely you've been watching this network long enough to know that that's where they're going. Sips. Pushed by the far left Greens party, lunatic radicals would be another way of putting it. The bill amends the Planning, Development and Infrastructure Act 2016 to enable the government to take control over land if it determines the owner is unwilling or unable to develop or make use of it. Now, there's a very ambiguous set of terms. Determines the owner is unwilling. So we've just decided you don't want to do it. Or perhaps we've set a set of rules so hard that you can't fucking jump through these hoops any further because these hoops have brick walls in front of them at every turn. You can't do it. So we've decided you're unwilling because you can't jump through the hoop. Or unable. Because we've made it so fucking hard for you, you're unable to do it. One way or the other, same shit, different shovel. Or make use of it. How can anybody not make use of their own fucking land? And if it is appropriate. So again, another ambiguous term. They've decided it's appropriate for me to steal your land so I could put a whole bunch of fucking foreigners on it. New World Order, tent city, here we come. That the land be used for a public purpose. For a public purpose. Sorry. You were going to build a house there? Well, here's a whole bunch of planning permits you can't afford and hoops you can't jump through. Give it 6 months. When you can't fucking get through it, we're going to declare it land for public use. And now we're going to make, Muslim tent city or, newly found immigrants tent city from multiple locations. Let's not be racist about it. Anyway, or religious about it. Anyway, public purpose is defined by the bill as use as public park or for recreational sport. Interesting. It's just nuts. But the radical leftist LGBT activist Greens MP Robert Sims told Parliament on Wednesday the bill was deliberately broad. Of course it was. They need it to be deliberately broad so they can fuck anybody they don't like over. That's what it's about. You're not what? You don't want to rape children in bathrooms? What? You don't think it's okay for us to put men in women's bathrooms? What? You don't think fucking men should overrun women in sport? Right, we're going to roll you over and going to steal your land and we're going to turn it into a tent city. These people are disgusting. Anyway, last but not least, Pentagon launches review of AUS UK Australia AUKUS Security Alliance. This is an interesting one. Future of 240 billion defense pact in doubt as Trump administration reviews to see if it aligns with America First agenda. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I don't have a great deal of faith in Trump. I don't have a great deal of faith in anything because why should I? Why should any of us have any faith in any of this crap? But it's interesting to watch. The Pentagon has launched a review of the AUKUS Defense Pact to make sure it is aligned with Trump's America First agenda, throwing the $240 billion agreement with Britain and Australia into doubt. The review may trigger more allied anxiety over the future of the trilateral alliance designed to counter China's military rise. Australia, in particular, is relying on AUKUS to renew its entire submarine fleet. So let's look at this in reality terms. We are a big ass. It's not just a gold mine. We are an everything mine. The amount of resources we have here in Australia is probably the only reason we won't get bombed into absolute submission. It is pretty straightforward. You could pretty much wipe this country out with a couple of well-placed strategic missiles. It would destroy Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. You might consider Perth a target. Those major cities is pretty much all you need to do. 5 missiles, done. Canberra? Why would you bomb Canberra? They're part of the problem. Let them keep going. I know you were thinking that. No, let Canberra keep going. They're part of the problem. They keep selling us out to the bloody Chinese. Fucking hell. If they're not selling us out to Chinese, they're selling us out to the Yanks. Who do you consider the biggest enemy here? At the end of the day, everybody's got an interest. I have faith in the fact they won't blow us up because they need the infrastructure. The Chinese are very good at making sure they don't have to fire a bloody shot. They're more than happy to wait. The Yanks are a loose cannon, but they've got more military bases here than most people would like to admit. That is another strategic situation we want to consider as we move into our next thing. But at the end of the day, look, the US president himself does not seem to have made a priority of the pact. Asked about AUKUS during Keir Starmer's visit. Oh, fuck him. He's a bloody drug addict pedophile, I'm sure of it. That's just my opinion, though. The review follows Defense Secretary... Albanese said something. Fuck. He pledged 2.4%. Oh, wow. Insisting Australia will set its own defense priorities. What defense priorities? I mean... The Australian government, and not like Elbows is about as useless as the tits on a bull, but every other prime minister has completely sent us up the creek with no fucking paddle. It's like canoes with holes in them, constantly being shoved up shit creek. And sorry, Sips, wash my mouth out, but we're going up the creek. There's holes in it, no paddles. And no direction, no idea, pumping money into God knows what. At the best, we'll get some sub-rate, poorly equipped shit, the leftovers from last week's war. It's just garbage. It's all garbage. At the end of the day, let's come down to the fact that we have another problem in this country. and it's Elbow and his desire to keep bringing people in.
Retailers are being inspected a day since Victoria outlawed the sale of machetes. But the government's been accused of robbing Peter to pay Paul after revealing not a single new officer has been hired for the crackdown. Mark Santamartino reports.
Machete sales have been banned for 2 weeks, but they're still being used in attempted robberies and still being advertised on eBay.
I love it. Oh my God, they banned machetes. But they're still being used. These people are that fucking retarded. Oh, shit. Struth. Sips. How moronic do you have to be? I mean, A, fair enough, there's a problem. But B, the mainstream media is so shit at their job that they'll sit there and go, oh my God, there's still machetes on the street. They banned them last week. What do you actually think is going to happen? What? Well, we banned it. It's going to be stopped. In what universe do criminals suddenly adhere to laws? Please tell me. I'm still waiting. I guess that's why none of the other stupid left-hard laws ever worked.
Yeah, I can get a machete delivered to me by this Friday.
But actually buying one may not be so simple.
One of the things that eBay has assured us that they've put in place is geo-blocking technology.
Consumer Affairs Victoria told Victoria's Parliamentary Accounts and Estimates Committee it is confident that the technology is blocking sales at checkout.
Now, this is an absolute joke, right? All I have to do is say, hey, mate, in Adelaide, yeah, no worries. Cool. I'm going to order this shit, send it to you. Once you get it, cool. Can you send it to me? No worries. Done. Problem solved. This is how stupid these people are.
In less than 10 days, its task force has completed more than 350 inspections, 70 online and 280 in store.
330 machete inspections already?
So you're right, it is a lot. We have to be really mindful that you can have small but equally dangerous sales occurring in places like local markets.
It's too little too late because we've seen machetes being available for such a long period of time because this government delayed the legislation.
Because the interim ban was announced so quickly, it's been revealed Victoria's machete task force was cobbled together only using existing staff. Not a single new hire was made.
They're just using current staff.
It's been two weeks. Where are they going to hire the new bloody staff? It's unrealistic.
There is no new resources. Who's missing out when it comes to other services from Consumer Affairs in our state?
The ban is working. We're taking machetes off the shelves.
Mark Santamartino, 9 News.
More than
At the end of the day, it's utter rubbish. The whole thing is utterly rubbish. I mean, like, what do we consider a machete? That is not a machete. That is a friggin' saw for cutting wood. That's not a machete. This is the utter ridiculousness of this shit. What exactly do they consider a machete? Half this stuff, it's not a machete. Look at this. Hang on, here we go. These are not machetes. These are souvenir knives of various different... I would never consider this stuff a machete. It's utterly stupid. And it reflects the stupidity of the people reporting this, let alone the morons making this. Like, I mean, holy shit. That is a bloody wood saw. That's for bloody cutting branches, you bloody numpty. Oh, machete. I mean, cold steel tie machete with sheath. I mean, the problem isn't the weapons, it's the assholes using them. I mean, again, look at, what's this one? What's a fucking pruning implement, you bloody knob jockeys? This is utter shit. Like the tabloid crap that is this shit article. It can only be compounded by the stupidity of the fact that they think they're going to solve gang violence by banning a machete. How stupid have you got to be? But look, it's all right. We've got a housing crisis and we've got people coming in by the boatload, but there is a community that has got this shit sorted. Might want to learn something from this.
To do on this, and especially in this area which I want to talk about, is to build an amazing multifunction center, mosque, and a huge education institute, a school for primary and secondary, expanding it even more.
Honestly, I don't know any center in all of Australia who has gone this far. The school, sports complex, the medical centre, the counselling centre, the masjid, the restaurant? I mean, where does it end?
That's a wonderful question. So why is it that the Islamic community can be so fucking organized and get their shit together and support their culture, but we can't? Just a thought.
Things are happening. This is real. I have to admit, a few years back, I thought, I don't know how far is my centre going to go, but it really is proving a lot of people wrong. I'm really impressed, mashallah.
Well, do you want to donate? You want to give a little couple of bucks to that, eh? Hey? Ladies and gentlemen, we're losing control of our own country and our own culture. Why? Because we'll let them do what we won't do for ourselves. Pretty straightforward stuff. I'm sorry to if I upset anyone. If it helps, sips, digest that. Wash that shit sandwich down a little bit. Take a nice bite of it and wash it down. The reality is they're fucking getting organized. They're building their own little community. What are we doing? Sort of put that out there. In the meantime, here's another thought.
But let me get this straight. People own money. So the IMF and the World Banks and BIS, they can say they've got member countries that own them, but no. People own money. That money that we work so hard for, putting in a 40, 50-hour week to feed our kids and pay that mortgage is at mercy for manipulation, the same as the little cheating kid that's playing Monopoly. And it goes further because banks can lend it. Banks can lend the imaginary money, but they don't even have it. So they're imagining they've got the imaginary money so that they can lend it to you that they don't even have, but then they can charge interest on you on a housing market that's been inflated because, you know, they own money. And even though they can print money, because they just print it, because they own it, they just print it. So even though they can print it, we still got to pay taxes. No, not just one tax though, not just income tax. We've got to pay GST and capital gains and we've got to pay council tax. And if you're going to have a lemonade stall, young man, you better pay tax on that. And you're going to need a permit. And if you sell your electric scooters, son, and make a profit, the government wants a part of that as well. Oh, and then there's tolls as well and parking that you got to pay. And even though you've already paid for the roads with your registration, which is another tax, not enough though. Even though we're standing here with all the clothes pecked off us by our own governments, not enough. Still not enough. Can't balance the books. Joe's plumbing, he's got to balance the books. If he doesn't balance the books or pay his tax, he's got no business and he's in jail. Mary from Mary's bookkeeping, she can keep the books, but nope, 2,000 or however many are in the Department of the Treasury can't balance a whole country's tax. Too hard. Not their money, even though they're on mega salaries and pensions. No, it's just a country. They don't give a flying ball. Got to go in debt. Here in Australia, over $1 trillion I think it is now. But Australia with 27 million people, $1 trillion. But here's the thing, it's imaginary money and we're borrowing it off people that nobody can actually tell us who it is. Meant to be our money and we're going into imaginary debt. So it's imaginary money and we're in imaginary debt to imaginary people. But they're going to drive the country into the ground and we've got to pay more taxes because of their up decisions, even though they can just print money anyway. So let's just recap that then. So they own money and they can lend money they don't have and it's not real anyway. And we've got to pay taxes, but only us, not the globalist corporations. Ministers and stuff, they've got overseas bank accounts, so they don't have to either. And the bank can lend money to us that they don't have. And the government can spend all of our money and get into debt, spending it on really good stuff, not the stuff like feeding our kids and feeding the homeless and creating a better country. No, all the good stuff like wars overseas has got nothing to do with us, and aid and maybe tranny story time programs for the kids, help these little kids chop their dicks off, all the good stuff, not those pesky homeless people, our fellow countrymen. Oh, and then, sorry, just a little thing, inflation. It's just theft by nature. Oh, and superannuation. So 10% of all of our imaginary money that we work so hard for has got to go to somebody else that we've never met so that they can squander it. And if we don't do that, then that's illegal. I'm no Arthur Ponzarelli, but this sounds like a Ponzi scheme. They're just moving zeros and making money. They're just owning the game, writing themselves $50 notes and putting it in the Monopoly game. And we've got to help the company profit. That company's only made $10 billion a year. They've got to make 11. That's not enough. We've got to take care of shareholders and stakeholders and silly me. All the priorities, do you know what I mean? How did we not all see this before? Well, I mean, some people did, and I sort of half knew, but this has really pushed it out into the open, isn't it? All this COVID nonsense has really kicked something off. So transparent, so ridiculous.
And that's what I love. It's like, oh, the COVID. Oh, how did I not see this before? Love it. And like that look on his face, like, oh my God, like, hey, wow. And it's not about being, self-important and I'd seen it first and all this. I've known this since I was a young fella, and it's like, it's frustrating to see this, but it's inspiring to see this as well. It's good to see that. Oh my God, I'm not just waiting for that random one dude once a month that I just happen to come across and have a relaxing conversation and go, yeah, cool, I'm not the only one, because the gods always provide. It's cool. Everybody can see it now. So to me, watching this is fucking inspiring. Oh, excuse me, let me wash my mouth out. This is insanely inspiring because I'm not the only one. I don't have to wait once a month to just come across a random. It's every day, time and time again.
People are firing up. You know what you can do with your imaginary debt? Off with it. How about that? I'm not paying the imaginary debt with imaginary money to imaginary people. Go yourself. You did it. You get out of it. We'll fix it. Don't you worry about that. Decentralised financial systems exist and they're on their way and we're all looking at it now. These people are themselves. Anyway, love your bones. Ciao.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And it's inspiring, to be able to, if you feel a little bit depressed one day, chuck on, whatever social media feed I got and go, there's somebody I've never seen before having a big rant, saying exactly the same things I've been saying for 30 bloody years. Thank the Lord. Thank whatever. Allah, fucking God, fucking Odin, bloody Struth. I've sworn so much I might have to have a few drinks. Anyway, the real thing to think about is that we've gone from the Australian chaos, we're moving into the worldwide chaos, and this is a harsh one to swallow. I remember as a kid, the old lady telling me how they were told to hide under desks. It was a horrible thing to do to children. Hey, little kid, come to school. Now we're going to do drills, hide under the desk because, a whole bunch of lunatics might want to blow the world up tomorrow. Here we are about to do that again. And that's disgraceful. It's disgusting. You can point your fingers. I'm not going to say it's any religious doctrine. I'm not going to say it's any specific country or culture. I'm going to say it's a bunch of satanic, sick fuck pedophiles, and they've infiltrated so many places that pointing a finger is somewhat irrelevant. It's kind of like you need to try to cut a cancer out throughout a body, but it's not just one cancer. Like this is a cancer that's manifested into so many different places. And, I did a bit last week, and it was kind of could be perceived as a racist thing, and it wasn't my intention, but I wanted to point out the what they're doing by mixing cultures in an attempt to create chaos, right? And then I was seeing this week, and this bloody sums it up so well. It's a long one, but it's worth listening to. And what it really illustrates is what I've always been saying. The biggest problem is our governments worldwide. It's not. This is not a race thing. It's not a cultural thing. We could all be quite happy living our lives, doing what we do, getting along. But governments, megalomaniacal, lunatic, UN corporate, globalist lunatics. Wow. And it's not a new thing, They just keep renaming this shit. And this guy sums it up really well. You got to be shitting me. There's no audio. Give me a second. Look, trust me, this has got to be done. I don't give a shit.
I'm archiving every distortion.
There it is. How the hell this come out with no audio is beyond me. This is the kind of moment where I feel Slayer. I'm a metalhead. If you don't realize by now, God hates us all. What was the name of the album? And I went down to JB Hi-Fi in the city when that album was released somewhere in the late 90s. Picked up my copy of it. I brought it home and I dropped it in the CD player and it, Backstreet Boys are back. And I could have gone and bashed my sister. I'm like, what the? How is this? What is this shit? I was absolutely disgusted. You know, I thought, oh, my sister's gone and dropped the CD in my bloody stereo or something. It's the only thing that made sense. I pulled it out. No, bloody Slayer. Dropped it back in. Backstreet, get what? No way. No way is my CD saying that. That can't be true. But I tested it, and it turned out some knob jockey, whether intentionally or not, decided to somehow take a Slayer album and put the Backstreet Boys on it. And it was really funny because I went back to the JB Hi-Fi in the city and look, somebody seems to have fucked up here, mate. I've got a Slayer CD that's got the Backstreet Boys on it. And old mate behind the counter going, oh, thank God somebody is reasonable. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I just had a dude throw a fucking Slayer CD at me and told me all about how Slayer have sold out. I'm like, you shitting me? He's like, no shit. This guy was so bloody irate that he put a Slayer CD in and it sounded like the Backstreet Boys. He was ready to kill me. I just about got like frisbee deathed by a fucking CD from a pissed off Slayer fan. Oh, wow. I thought it was pretty straightforward to be able to figure that out. But anyway, look.
I am
All right, so we want this dude. And I chuck that up there. Share screen. Grab this. Grab that. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please tell me if you can't hear this. I'm going to throw this microphone right at it.
Ibrahim Traore, and today I'm pulling off your masks. Yes, you heard correctly. I, whom you call a young military junta leader, whom you brand as a dangerous radical, whom you serve up as an anti-Western dictator, am now telling you the truth. And this time you cannot turn off your microphones. This time you cannot turn away your cameras. This time your editors cannot cut this speech, because the world you monopolize no longer exists. Because millions will hear these words now, without passing through your filters, without being subjected to your distortions, without being muddied by your lies. I am 34 years old. Every day of my life, I grew up with your lies. As a child, I would watch Africa on television. Always the same images. Children with flies, dry lands, weapons, death. This is Africa, they told us. This is what Africa is. And we believed it. We were ashamed of ourselves. We were ashamed of our own lands, of our own people. But then I grew up. I read, I researched, I questioned, and I understood that the Africa you showed us wasn't real.
At that particular juncture, I'd also like to just sort of put into the fact, growing up in Sydney, Melbourne, I remember watching Crocodile Dundee and going, that's not Australia. Then being slapped on the back of the head by my grandma and going, that is a bloody Australia. You just live in bloody city land. You don't know what Australia looks like. And it's amazing how much our perspective really is based on the limited realm in which we live in, you know. And the more I got told, no, you don't know what's going on, the more I wanted to go and find out.
Story you told us was a lie. The fate you imposed on us was a script you had written. For years, how have you portrayed Africa? How have you shown it? How have you sold it to your viewers? As if we were creatures who had no share of humanity, as if we were savages left outside of civilization, as if we were wretches waiting for you to save us. Every day, every hour, every minute, the same story plays on your screens. Hunger, war, disease, corruption, terror, chaos. These are the words that come to mind when Africa is mentioned. In your Africa dictionary, there are no other words. No hope, no success, no development, no resistance, no honor, no pride, no victory. So I ask you, New York Times, Washington Post, Guardian, Le Monde, have you ever made Africa's successes your headlines? How many times have you written about Rwanda's technology miracle? How many times have you shown Ethiopia's reforestation project? How many times have you praised Botswana's democratic success? How many times have you described Kenya's entrepreneurial ecosystem? No, because these don't fit your scenario. Your Africa cannot be successful. It cannot, because then how will you legitimize your exploitation? If it's not in need of help, how will you intervene? If it's not backward, how will you look down on it? Have you ever asked yourselves, has any editor sitting at their desk, any news director in a meeting, any columnist at their keyboard ever thought, why are the people of the world's richest lands poor? Here are the numbers for you, real numbers. Africa owns 70% of the world's cobalt reserves. Your cell phone, your computer, your electric car won't work without cobalt. This cobalt comes from Congo, but Congolese can't afford cell phones. Africa owns 90% of the world's platinum reserves. Catalytic converters, electronic devices, medical implants, they all need platinum. This platinum comes from South Africa, but South Africans are crushed by unemployment. Africa provides 30% of the world's gold production. Mali, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Tanzania. Gold flows like rivers from our lands, but our people swim in poverty. Africa supplies 65% of the world's diamond production. Botswana, Angola, Congo, Sierra Leone, billions of dollars worth of diamonds are extracted, but our miners live on $1 a day. Africa owns 35% of the world's uranium reserves. Niger, Namibia, South Africa. Nuclear plants run on our uranium. Paris lights burn with our uranium, but our villages have no electricity. And you still ask, why is Africa poor? No, the right question is, how was Africa kept poor while being so rich? Here's your answer. Colonialism didn't end. It changed shape. You used to come and occupy our lands. Now you come and establish companies. You used to take by force. Now you make agreements. You used to rule with the whip. Now you rule with credit. Let me give you concrete examples with numbers, names, dates, but you'll never write about these. Glencore, Swiss-based mining giant, extracting cobalt in Congo. 2022 revenue, $256 billion, a tax paid to Congo, $500 million. That's 0.2%. Is this justice? Rio Tinto, British-Australian mining giant, extracting bauxite in Guinea, 20 million tons annually. What's left for Guinea? Environmental pollution and cancer. Total Energies, French oil giant, extracting oil in Angola, Nigeria, Congo. 2022, profit, $36 billion investment in Africa, dirty pipelines, Anglo-American, founded in South Africa but now in London. Diamonds, platinum, iron, taking everything. What it left in South Africa? 6 million unemployed miners. And these are just the tip of the iceberg. What about the invisible, the secret deals, the offshore accounts, the transfer pricing tricks? Every year, $88 billion in illegal money flows out of Africa. Who writes about this? Every year, $45 billion in aid comes to Africa. Everyone writes about this, but no one says Africa is not the continent receiving aid, it's the continent giving aid. While you zoom your cameras on swollen bellies, there is a huge system working silently in the background. Every day, tons of gold, diamonds, cobalt, uranium, oil leave our land. But how? Here is the system. Step 1, create corruption, bribe our leaders, open offshore accounts, promise them a life of luxury, send their children to your schools. Step 2, make deals, get 50-year, 99-year concessions, ask for tax exemptions, be exempt from environmental rules, ignore labor rights. Step 3, control the infrastructure. Take over ports, airports, railways, but only from the mine to the harbor. Don't build roads to the villages. Don't bring electricity to schools. Step 4, provide security. Set up private security companies. Arm them. Declare protesting. Step 5, silence the media. Buy local journalists. Suppress opposing voices. Serve internal unrest news to international media. And this is how the system works. It's been working like this for 100 years, and you don't see this system.
Well, anyway, we all get the point, and I suspect that a great many have already seen it, as a great many have already pointed out AI. But is it wrong? That's the big question. You know, at the end of the day, a great many of the things that are said here are very true. Excuse me, because it's not just about what's happening in Africa. It's about what's happening globally. It's all about The resources. It's all about the power. It's all about the bullshit. I don't know if we got to it, but I think it's later in there. Where do we go? Where's all this information come from? Where are all the big leaders? Oh, it's all the same schools. It's all the same people. It's all the same families. At the end of the day, you can sit there and go, hey, it's AI driven. And it obviously is. The guy's just like, doesn't move. Just, and every now and there's a cut, and you can see that it actually has been cut from certain points. But at the end of the day, the reality is that the whole world has had enough. We here in Australia need to step up because, we're seeing shit's going south real hard in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things I wanted to get into and deal with, like Greta's a fucking idiot and managed to get herself deported. What I really, I'll just going to touch on it quickly. Greta went on a big fucking, we're sailing down the seventh seas. We're going to save the Palestinians from the Israelis. But, the Israelis said no. Oh, okay. Do I get some food? Yeah, okay. Do I get a chance to send a signal out and look really brave and be utterly useless? Yeah, okay, that's all right. No worries. That's all right, Greta. You can look like an idiot. No worries. But what's important is that, they were offered, we're going to deport you. Just sign the form, get the fuck out. Greta signed the form and got the fuck out. Her more diehard friends didn't. How dedicated is she to the cause? When her friends said, nah, fuck that. We're going to stand here. We're going to make these Israelis fucking hold us and feed us for fuck all. And, we're going to be complete dicks about this. We're going to stand our ground. And Greta's like, well, if I sign this, you send me home? Yeah, no worries. Bye, Greta. Fucking weak as piss. Sorry, I swore again. Better wash my mouth out, Sips. Yep. She sold out. She is 100% piss bloody weak. Level of piss weak that I think the standard human just... I can't even think of a funny way to put it. Maybe like that dream you have where you like pissing on a tree and then you realize, oh my shit. That's not even a good way of saying it. Holy what? I just peed my bed. Yeah, I think that's kind of Greta's thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe I need another painkiller for the pain in my back, but there was that. Love Greta. Got the bums rush. She probably enjoyed it too. I swear to God, she probably got paid for the PR on that. Let's face it, they're all in on it. Can you trust any of them? Fuck no. Mate, if Donald Trump turned up on my doorstep and said, hey, mate, I think you're doing a great job, I'd be like, really? Why? What do you want? Why are you on my doorstep? Wouldn't trust any of them under no circumstances. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm pretty much done here. There is all right, I'll give you a little bit more. Let's check it out. I haven't done a bit of medical news for a little while. Defendant vaccine safety pyramid scheme. I love the word scheme because scheme always has nefarious elements attached to it. Go ahead, look the word up. Approves meningococcal vaccine for infants without placebo-controlled trials. Is anybody fucking like... I swore again, sorry. Sips. Is anyone surprised at this point? Still pushing the poison. Still pushing the poison. Look out. RFK Jr. removes all members of CDC Vaccine Advisory Committee. It's a start. A clean sweep is needed to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science. No shit. You a proper clean sweep, not just getting rid of a bunch 17 dickheads. I think we're going to need a hell of a lot deeper clean sweep than that. That's kind of like a horrifically infected wound. And, you know, let's just say it's the back of the thigh, you know, just to give it perspective. It's one of those ones that I can perceive having experienced it. You know, there's this big pustule growing right on that central point of your calf, you know, and it's a huge pustule, you know, and you can consider that the vaccine industry, right? This mob are like, we're going to take 17 members out. That's like nipping the side and just swabbing the side of it. In the meanwhile, this giant pustule is still going. I haven't got a lot of faith. It's a start. You know, we're like knocking the head off it, but it's not quite good enough. Endocrine disruptors reduce women's egg supply and quality. May lead to premature menopause. Ladies, look out. New study in Nature Reviews Endocrine underscores the urgent need for stronger female reproductive health protection laws and regulations to limit exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals throughout life. That seems to suggest there's a hell of a lot of them. And all these poor boys, wow, butting their heads against walls. Sips, ladies and gentlemen. Have a read. Substances that interfere with the body's hormone systems may contribute to a wide range of female reproductive health problems. Problem, especially if you have, you know, a declining population. Unless it's designed to be that way. Anyway, including reduced fertility, early or delayed puberty. That's a bit upsetting for some, I'm sure. Premature menopause. Again, that's not something that I'm aware of, but for those who are, please tell me, is that good or bad? And a polycystic ovary syndrome. I've never heard of that in my life. I can't comment. According to a new review of more than 250 human and animal studies. I like this. 250 human and animal studies. I have to wonder, did they include humans as animals? I'm not sure. But 250 seems like a pretty fucking small amount. Especially if you're like 125 humans, 125 animals. It's hard to try and figure out what the hell's going on. You know, and it's like I seen one on Redacted the other day, and I seen that Robin had a bit of a go at Redacted the other day regarding data pertaining to strokes. And I'm like, okay, cool. I personally watched the same article and I had a very different view. Oh, I see where Robin's come from, and that's fine. She's entitled to her opinion, and I'm not going to poo-poo her opinion. I'm just going to say that my opinion was that I was actually responsive to what they were saying, which is that, yeah, the COVID jab has done a lot of shit, but what we need to really understand is how much other shit and thousands of God knows what are coming at us from so many elements. It's not just the COVID jabs we should be focused on. That's what I got from that particular thing, and that's what I'm getting from this sort of shit too, is we're getting hammered from every bloody direction. We are in a lot of trouble, ladies and gentlemen. And if we are not focused, we're going to find ourselves wiped out. For some reason, I can venture a guess, but yeah, Western ethnic people are not exactly desirable. We have a strange desire to resist communism, I believe. FDA approves first lab-grown salmon based solely on the manufacturer's safety claims. Want to eat that salmon, ladies and gentlemen? Do you want to eat that salmon? Don't know that I'll waste any more time on that. I think straight hit the button, wrong button. Shit, done it again. FDA greenlight Merck's RSV shot for newborns. Clinical trials showed 11.71% rate of serious adverse events, including death. 11%? Oh, 11.7. Let's round it up. That's 12%. That's a pretty bloody high percentage considering death isn't amongst that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a dice. Rolling that dice decides your death. You know, it's actually kind of like Russian roulette. I remember, and this is one of the things I had a bit of trouble dealing with my paternal constructs. Was my paternal constructs told me that Russian roulette was the stupidest thing you could ever do. You're killing yourself. Well, the old mate was walking off a cliff, would you? Basic common sense shit, will you commit suicide? But then you find your paternal elements deciding they want to shoot themselves up with a Russian roulette gene therapy. Got a bit hard. But anyway, again, including death. What's my motivation here? I'm sorry. I don't give a shit if it's 11%, 10%, 2%, 1%, 0.fuck-all%. If there's a possibility that injecting this shit will kill my kid, you know what? You better inject it into you first, motherfucker. And even then, I inject that in my kid dies, coming for you. Coming for you. That's simple, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put that in me. I'm going to put that in my loved ones, kids, whoever. They die, coming for you. Until the human race is willing to put that as its highest priority. There are a lot of problems, ladies and gentlemen. Only when they're held to the highest account can we solve this problem. In the meantime, here's a funny one. Queensland Health Post. Palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There are germs on your sweater already. Cough and sneeze confetti. You're nervous, but on the surface, you look calm and ready. Dropping snot bombs, but you keep on forgetting. Oh, here we go. Flu hits sudden. I love the way they're trying to be all hip and yo, gangster, we stole some Eminem shit. Like, seriously, these guys should be done for plagiarism. Flu hits sudden. You know what? I can't do it. It's so bad. Like, seriously, go and take your flu hits because we took a yo, homie. Yo, homie. We got Eminem, yo, whack, homie. Queensland Health's gone, yo, homie. Fuck yo, homie. You know, it's all about freedom. And you guys are trying to take something about being free and making it about being a totalitarian dictatorship. Filthy fucking scum. Lowest the low. That's not it. There's something else. Here I go again on my own. Well, here we go. Test number 1. Lipton's black tea came in at a 7.3 for fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, stay away from Lipton. I didn't do the test. It's the No Fluoride Australia mob who've done this. They've determined that 7.3 ppm fluoride just for drinking that. And that's not to even consider the amount of God knows how much fluoride your irresponsible water managing council or other water managing body may have infiltrated and infected your cup of tea. Disgusting, irresponsible, and fundamentally showing how much they don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, it's pretty disgraceful, really. You know, when you think about some cock-knocking, filthy fuck from the council, and I can't think of any of them that I would give any respect to, because they don't have respect for me. Clearly, they've shown that. They've demonstrated they have no respect because they can't answer simple, straightforward questions like, can you show that you actually follow the law? No, they can't. Townsville City Council has shown they cannot follow the law. They lie. They're filth. They're scum. They don't care. And then you add their filth of desire to to overtly medicate you, and then you have a Lipton's tea bag and they get medicated again. How can any of these people tell you that, oh, you've been safely medicated? Maybe you had 50 cups of tea that day. You got 7.3 ppm of fluoride every time you put a Lipton tea bag in. God knows how much you got out of Townsville City water. Keep multiplying. It's amazing people don't drop dead from fucking fluoride poisoning all the time because of this shit. It's fucking disturbing. We should really be concerned with the negligence of these people. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been chaos. Have I made sense? I don't know. I hope I did. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm going through it, dealing with it. Final notes. It's unbelievable. Big Pharma has a drug for everything, but a cure for nothing. Are we awake yet? Have you figured it out yet? Sips. Wow. Some foreign cunts. Them PNG mob. Oh, sorry, I said a horrible word. Excuse me. Let me wash my mouth out. The PNG mob got $600 million for a rugby team. Australians living in tents? Bloody good or what? Or effing good and what? I'm trying not to swear. I really am. When a PM and an ex-premier dine out, who picks up the bill? Well, you know it's us. You know we're picking up the bill. What disgusts me the most is that nobody in this facility said We refuse to serve you. Get the fuck out of this venue. That's what should have happened, ladies and gentlemen. Anytime you see turds like this, you should absolutely shun them, because that's what they wanted to do to you. They should never, ever be accepted in any way, shape, or form in humanity. The only thing they're fit to do is clean shit off my boot. And forgive me for that terminology, ladies and gentlemen, sips. Washing my mouth out, as we should wash them from our society. 4th pay rise since coming to power. Oh, there's a good kick in the dick, ladies and gentlemen, or kick in the cunt. Oh, sorry, I swore again. Sorry. That face just inspires swearing. And there is so many words I would like to spill and spew in the face of such filth. Anyway, there's that same filthy face. Received a 5-digit pay rise, taking his salary well over $630. He must have heard that the CEO of Townsville City Council, who's useless as tits on a bull, was earning more than him. And Elbow's going, nah, fuck that. We can't have some useless toss bag in Townsville being a CEO earn more than me. I'm the Prime Minister of the fucking Australia. I'm the most important person. His bloody toss bag has finally decided that he can earn more than the useless fuckwittery of the CEO of Townsville. Anyway, speaking of freeloaders, gotta love Danger Dan's amazing use of AI. Now, Kamala, Caramel, I don't know. Kamala Harris for the people. Now, I don't know what you think when I look at that, but it looks like a giant dick wanking circle. Did anybody else see something different there? That honestly looks like a giant wank fest. Please correct me. Like, what else could that be other than a giant wank fest? The only thing that's missing is like this white cum spray that looks like that artistic bullshit. What was it, out Laverton Way in Victoria? There's this like this what I call the poofter's fart. This spray of white shit just hanging around in the air of sticks. I reckon, this is the manifestation of this. It's like some weird gay ritual. I don't get it. And there's 5 of them too. It's got this pentagonal fucking, I don't know. I look at it and I see a Satan gay cockfest. What do you think? Yep, Belladonna agrees. Poofter's fart. Yeah, that's the Laverton artwork. The Poofter's fart. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, help me out. How else can look at this pathetic excuse for art? Caramel Harris. This is her opening spin for trying to win. Obviously, she down but not out. Trying to do a Trumpian fucking. We're gonna spend the next 4 years running an amazing campaign to make the most unwinnable fucking piece of shit winnable. One hell of an uphill battle. It's not just an uphill battle. It's like digging yourself out of the depth of a corpse pit, I think. But anyway. Caramel Harris. And this is the way she's looking at it. A giant 5-way wank fest. You're going to ask Adrian to do that? You're weird. Well, I'm glad that Sam agrees. It looks fucked up. Yep. I agree, Jake. It's all wrong, isn't it? It's like 9 kinds of wrong. Absolutely 9 kinds of wrong. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of things I wanted to deal with. There's probably something, you know what? I'm actually disturbed in a lot of ways. I kind of pussyfooted around it and I waited till the bloody nth degree. But look, we're staring down the barrel of fucking World War III. It's just happened. It was only researching the show that I realized just how bad things have gotten, ladies and gentlemen. How do you talk about this? How do you deal with this? You know, what do you guys think? What have you seen? I mean, Cherry thinks the Earth is flat, you know, and that's fine. That I'm not going to upset you and say I disagree, but I do. But I'm happy for you to have your perspective. That's fine. If you want to think the world's flat, you go right ahead. It has no bearing on my perspective on things, and that's fine. So long as you can believe what you think, and I can believe what I think, and that's okay. No problem. Doesn't change anything. Unless I'm going to beat you up for it, and that's a problem. You know, when you're that fucking over the top that you got to beat people up because I believe this, then you're a dick. "100% flat," he says. He's keen. He's on it. Oh, sorry, Kerry. I didn't read your comment. Can we go to Kerry's comment? She said that I didn't read it. Can we go back to whatever that comment was? Sorry, Kerry. It's a lot of things happen. It's and to everybody. Like, please don't be offended if I didn't read your comment. It's a case of, oh shit, I just happened to see it. Sometimes it's just what needed to be seen. It just happened to be that moment. I'm sure you can tell. Excuse me. A lot's going on. We got piles and piles and piles of shit going on here, and multiple screens, and a crew of people, beautiful family out there looking after me and making sure the comments are running, and they're obviously struggling to find that comment. Anyways, anyhows, actually, Struth, I don't know how I've missed this. Struth. Missed the rest of the beautiful fucking funny as fuck comments. Here we go. Memesies. Beautiful ones. Well, at least we don't have to worry about anarchy anymore. No more anarchy. Feel safe, ladies and gentlemen? Do you feel safe? You know, one of the funniest cartoons I've seen as a kid, it's rare as hen's teeth, it's called Go to Hell. And it's an Australian cartoon. I do have a copy of it, and it bloody took me 15 years to find it, but I have it. Anybody want to see the most mind-blowing idea of Odyssey, fuck you, this is how it is content, let me know. I'll sort you out. In the meantime, have you ever seen a death pit of koalas? Like, seriously, this is fucked up. Proper fucked up. That's dead koalas. That is Koala Clubber. That is Chris Bowen. This is sick fucks who think they're saving the goddamn world by killing koalas. Look at it. This here is dug out by a fucking digger. They've actually literally dug this hole to bury fucking koalas in. Yeah, we're saving the goddamn environment. What an amazing bunch of humanitarians they are. Anyway, yesterday we learned that millions are far too dumb to know they are being slowly cooked. You know, the kind of people who want to save koalas while fundamentally funneling them into pits of death. You can lead a human to knowledge, but you can't make them think. Good one, isn't it? I know we usually start with this, but everything's upside down and backwards because it's Friday the 13th, or at least it was, because, it still is. Anyway, so we have come to experiment on you, plunder your resources, and enslave you forever. Oh, you're from the government, mate. No worries, anytime. Please allow me to bend over. I'll take my pants down. I don't want you to be too upset about this. You know, I'm going to take my pants down, make it nice and easy. Oh, mate, please. Did you bring lube? Last fucker, it really hurt, eh? Be nice. Be nice. Yep. It's pretty hard to try and figure out how an alien invasion could possibly be worse than living with the shit that we have now, eh? Health experts furious as people avoid getting COVID jab. As a new highly contagious strain emerges. Wow. It would seem that the general public believe 2/5 of fuck all regarding the general mantra. Astounding. Anyone surprised? Please tell me. Anyone? Anyone out there? Look out. Now, what I find fascinating about this is I have under no circumstances signed up to anything Jewish. I've not signed up to the Australian Jewish Association or anything like that, but their shit just keeps coming up on my plate. I don't click like, I don't interact with it. It just keeps coming up in my feed. I just want to point that out. I'm not having a go at it. I'm not being anti-Semitic. Is it possible to not be anti-Semitic? Like, they've created such a situation that anything you say or do is pretty much anti-Semitic, unless it's like dropping to your knees and sucking, suck. And it makes a hell of a lot more sense if you've watched Spaceballs. But anyway. But seriously, why does this pop up in my feed all the time? I have no affiliation with these people, but they somehow have affiliation with me. Would you support Israel and or the Trump administration imposing sanctions on these two? What the fuck does Trump administration have to do with either of these people? The fact that the Australian Jewish Association is putting this out is somewhat disturbing, in my view. And it's certainly not making me want to support anything that they may say. Personally, I think this is detrimental to anything that the Jewish Association may be attempting to do. At the end of the day, I like Miss Wong. Well, she can Wong the fuck off. Like, I've got no desire to give her 2/5 of shit. Fuck her. And as far as bloody, I can't even think of her bloody name, or whatever the other one is. Look, she's just a lunatic activist. I wouldn't give two pieces of shit for either of them. But at the same time, I got just as much respect for the Jewish community pushing their point of view on me. I see an amalgamation of people who are not Australian. Jews, you're not sitting around the campfire with me. I don't see little Miss Wong doing anything other than selling our fucking country out. I don't know about the other one. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe take her out and have a camping expedition and have a couple of tinnies and a yarn. There might be a possibility, but she's such a generally over the top kind of person. I don't know. But I agree with half of what she says. Anyway. This one is an interesting one because it was sent to me a couple of weeks ago and I didn't see it until today. And I clicked on the link and it's gone. This link is absolutely gone. I don't know why. It's weird because there was a two plasma shockwave going to that did or did not allegedly was going to at the time engulf the Earth with a severe geomagnetic storm. The sun blasted 2 coronal mass injections. So a coronal mass ejection is basically like how do you explain it? It's just like a little volcanic eruption, in a sense, would be the easiest way. I could come up with a more perverse way, but it's probably not the most appropriate. Anyway, towards the Earth on May the 30th. It's interesting that apparently May the 30th was the big one. Personally, I feel like today and the last couple of days have been the really big ones that have really fucked with my head in any way. I'll have to talk to a couple of people about exactly what, why, where, or how. But anyway, I've certainly felt some fucking weird shit going on. It's not just the fact that it's Friday the 13th. I think it's just a coincidental mathematical algorithm. But what's really fascinating is this video is now no longer available. 9 times out of 10, somebody sends you a video. It's from YouTube, just some whack job, whatever, this, that, and the other. Yeah, well, that's where you can palm it off. I'm not saying that it is, but it's all relative. It's just the point of view. But when you click on something and that's dead, why can't I see it? When you take it away, you make me want to find it. That's the big one. That's the big one. But look, ladies and gentlemen, we are in more shit than a faggot's finger at this particular joint because, one of the things I've come to realize, and it's only just happened. Fuck. I hit the right button. I know, I was just in denial. Trump warns brutal Israeli attacks after major strikes on nuclear and military sites. Yep. It would seem Israeli expansion into Gaza wasn't good enough. They want to keep going. Not that I would consider the ABC as a great source of news, but what do we know about Israeli strike on Iran and what might happen next? We're in more shit than the faggot's finger at this point, I would say. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it is hard to say, hey, we're all good at this point. The sick fucks want war. The sick fucks want pain. They want misery. I'm sorry, I swore again. I'm gonna wash my mouth out. Israel, no, the Israeli government, and and this is the thing about these kind of shitty articles. This piece of shit ABC should have a little bit more brains, but clearly they don't, because they want to keep the hatred alive. All right, and the only way we're going to get out of this shit, ladies and gentlemen, is to stop being as dumb as the ABC and every other mainstream media moron, and realize it's not people who just happen to be Jewish. It's the Israeli government. It is a small group of megalomaniacal lunatics who has launched strikes on dozens of targets in Iran, which is very disturbing, killing members of country elite preliminary units and nuclear scientists. Right? So this is strategic. I mean, again, it's pretty bold to assume that they could even state that. That may have been the target. But to be so presumptuous as to assume that that's what they've achieved, that's even dumber. It comes after days of tit for tat between the two countries over what Israel claims are plans by Iran to develop nuclear. Well, we know they had no intention. They didn't even have the capacity. Like, I mean, it's been proven time and time again that fucking Iran would like what 0.3% uranium or whatever. It's fuck all. It's not even military grade. It's bullshit. It's just Israel going, hey, we've managed to roll through fucking Palestine. Hey, fuck it. Who else can we roll through? Because the world won't do a goddamn thing. We'll just stand around and go, oh, that's just bad. We shouldn't do that. Oh, you shouldn't be so bad. Oh, ha, 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 ta, 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 ta. And they just let them go. No, seriously, the Israeli government are a pack of lunatics. They're bullies. They need to be slapped in the face. Horrible people. Clearly. Not Jewish people. Jewish people are fine. Everybody's fine. I don't give a shit. I'm not about what people you are. I'm talking about the governments. The governments are the enemy. It is confirmed it targeted military and nuclear sites in Iran's capital. Are they sure? And vowed to continue action for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. In other words, they're going to bomb them into submission just like they did Palestine because nobody stopped them before. I'm really sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to waste any more time on this shit because I can see exactly where this is going. We know who owns the banks. We know who's really driving everything. Trump and all these, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Got a big fucking balance sheet shoved right in front of him and gone, mate, you guys own so much money. Your grandchildren, your grandchildren's grandchildren are going to be paying off this money, Donald Trump. Nothing you can do. We won't make you bend over. We're just going to come and give you a little bit of a, test your balls. We're just going to cup your balls a little bit. Just do as you're told. We'll cup your balls. Otherwise, we'll cut them off. As old mate said, it's all fantasy. It's all bullshit. Why are we going along with it? That's the $1 billion question. Why are we going along with this shit? I don't know. I cannot find a solid, sound reason for any of us to continue to go along with this bullshit. It's a fantasy. It's a fake. They're all lying. Why? Why do we continue to allow it? Shoot me an email. Explain it to me. Please. NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com. Explain it to me. Why the fuck do we keep letting this shit happen? I'm at a loss. I'm 45 years old, and I spent the majority of my life going, what is wrong with the human race? I don't get it. In the meantime, the 7-day free trial, no, fuck that. We got a better one going on now. The Gaia Network, in the link in the description, we got 2 months free when you sign up. Bonus content, all sorts of amazing shit. $50 gift card. It's amazing. Jump in, mate. You're helping yourself and you're helping me. And look, I'm not promoting the Gaia Network because it makes me money. I'm promoting it because I enjoy it myself. No word of a lie. Like, I'm not making this shit up. Stake. Check it out. Code MarkB228. I've already explained it. I'm sure I've explained it millions of times. Like, at the end of the day, things are going to go south, ladies and gentlemen. And I wish I knew more back then than I do now. But one thing I do know now is if you get on to shit like this and start figuring out the stock market, as I explained, like 2070, my stocks are now looking good. As shit goes south, things like PPE, for example, buy shares in. The rich people never go south when things go wrong. Get onto it. Get on this shit. This is an opportunity to be able to at least buy something. I mean, even if it's $500 worth of shit, it's better than nothing. At least you're in the market. At least you're in the game. You're getting started. This app is great as far as I'm concerned because I don't have to deal with some fuckwit. I got fucked over a long time ago because I didn't have the opportunity to move shit when I seen things were happening. Now I can. And this app does that. Get onto it. If you don't understand it, just drop me a line at NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com and I'm happy to explain it to you. Seriously, it's brilliant. And like I said, I got screwed over with the banks a long time ago. Now I've got stocks in the bank, and now I can walk into the fucking bank and go, I'm a fucking shareholder. Fuck you. Whatever bank you're with, buy stocks, and then when you walk in and they fuck you over, go, no, I'm not just a customer. I'm a shareholder. Fucking do my bidding, bitch. Because, it's all about the shareholders. Check that shit out. You've seen it in the movies a million times over. Not hard to see the basic logic, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this show. I've done my best to present it to you. Sips, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday, Jody Lowe, and we're going to talk about how you can get a little bit more active down the coast from Queensland all the way down to Canberra and Strath. If only I had the capital. I know I'd be there, but we're there to talk about it nonetheless. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. One more for the road. Sips, ladies and gentlemen.